The Hangout on Air is live. Good afternoon, ladies and menfolk. Welcome to the Word Ninjas Live. We are a live stream of various writers discussing the trials and tribulations involved in achieving literacy productivity. You're joining us for episode 46. I am not CJ, as you may have noticed. I'm Justin, and I've temporarily taken over today's podcast. My co-hosts today are CJ, also known as Charles, also known as what?
I don't know how he got control of this thing. Everyone be very, very afraid.
I have also done various things to the show notes, so this podcast is going to run a little differently than usual, but it should be fun behind-the-scenes exploration in what we do here. I am also joined by Will.
Hello.
And you'll notice that I didn't introduce anyone by their various titles that CJ usually introduces us with. And that's because I don't think we ever had a say in what our titles were. They were just thrust upon us by CJ, and we all just happily accepted it. So for the first part of the podcast,
my title.
Did you like your title?
Yes.
So that was my question coming up. If anyone wanted to make changes to their titles while we were here.
Just for the reference, if you go into the Minecraft server, you'll see that some of us have different titles there than we do here.
I did not notice that.
Yours is still the same.
Yay.
So,
actually, I've dubbed you the IOI.
Chances are it's on some of the recordings that we're posting up on the channel, so people can probably spot them.
So Will, your preamble will still be furry serial writer?
It's pretty accurate.
Yes, I agree. CJ, since you gave yourself your own title, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're happy with it, or you've lost the will to care about it anymore. But now's the time to change it.
As far as Word Ninjas Live is concerned, it is a very applicable title. If Terror 2015 happens, we may expand that to Instigator of Creative Insanity. But that's for another conversation.
Yes. And me, I haven't come up with my title yet, because I haven't decided what I want to do yet. But we will get to that later. I assume that Ed is also in the background of Will's camera somewhere.
He's back there, but I have a earpiece in, so he can't hear anything.
Aha. Is Ed happy with fanfic aficionado?
We're changing titles. Are you happy with being the fanfic aficionado, or would you like a different title?
I never understood that one completely anyway.
Same perfect opportunity.
On the server, I dubbed you the Prodigy Alchemist.
I saw that. Actually,
You like that one?
kind of
I think we're going with Prodigy Alchemist.
Prodigy Alchemist. I'm sure CJ will veto that later, but today Ed will be known as Prodigy Alchemist.
other shit.
Great. And for all of those listening at home that do not have access to the live show notes, I also changed the show notes color from boring black to dark magenta number 3. And that was largely just for the heck of it, because I like to be annoying, especially when I take things over. All right, everyone's thing has been updated. So now we're going to move on to talking points, where I'm doing something a little bit different than what we usually do. Generally, we've had 2 or 3 talking points, maybe a what-if scenario thrown in, and they've been very monologue-y, and I feel that we haven't been promoting conversation and interaction between the other members. So I'm going to try to come up with our discussion organically. I do have a bulleted list of things that I would like to discuss today, and I'll try to bring them up organically as well. But I would like to try to foster conversation between people. Do you guys think you can handle that today?
What
As
is
long as background fans don't overload the sound systems.
If you have a fan on, CJ, I can't really notice. There's maybe a dull roar, but it is not that annoying. And you guys can use liberal use of your mute buttons. So, how's everyone's summer been treating you guys productivity-wise?
I'm going to be that guy that says it's not officially summer yet.
Now, when is the first day of summer?
I want to say it's next weekend, actually, so you are technically pretty close, but I think calendar-wise it is still spring, but you're welcome to correct me on that.
My rule is summer is between Memorial and Labor Day, whichever comes first. And it's basically whenever I put the air conditioner in.
That would be the common sense way of doing the calendar, but the Gregorian calendar says otherwise, I think.
Stupid moon phases. Okay, so how's everyone's spring been doing?
Oh, man. Well, as I've been complaining about for the past couple weeks, my creativity has been really bad the past month or so. I've gotten almost no writing done, and it's very slowly coming back to me.
Now, is this more distraction-based or actual, like, writer's block creativity block?
It's definitely a writer's block, because I would sit there and I would allocate time. It's like, I'm going to write now. There's no other distractions now. TV's off, no music, nothing. I'm just going to sit and focus and write, and I'll sit there and stare at a blank page for an hour, and my brain just goes, Which has been really frustrating, because at least distractions I can work around, but when my brain just has nothing, there's not much I can do.
Well, I would suggest that you start writing something completely irrelevant to your current works, just to get the pump primed, so to speak.
I've been thinking of doing that, tossing around alternate ideas in my head, just just write something.
Yeah.
Created new characters completely unrelated to anything related to my story.
Or what I like to do is write background scenes of my characters that aren't actually going to be put in the novel proper, but will sort of help define personality.
Little tertiary characters that are just in there for a couple scenes to help push main character story along.
Mm-hmm. Proper authenticity.
Mm-hmm. I have quite a few of those. Some of them already have backgrounds, which will never show up in the novel.
So, CJ, earlier you were telling me that you are working on a test.
I have a test due at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and a quiz due Wednesday, 9 a.m. in the morning. Yay.
So how's the spring been treating you?
In regards to overall productivity, I think it's actually been pretty good. I mean, I've made it to a couple of conventions. We're doing a lot of coordinations for networking possibilities and interview opportunities and all that. So that has been very productive and very good. In regards to actual writing or new content creation, that's where things have fallen apart.
Yes, the new content creation has been a little slow on my side as well. I was at an establishment basically all day today until the podcast, and I got a lot done, but most of it was in support of other larger projects and not actual content generation, which is fine. I felt very productive, and I was very productive for like, let's say 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, like 6 hours of pure productivity, no video games, no distractions, the occasional coffee, iced tea, food. But overall, new content creation has been very slow, so I understand. Has there been any huge distractions coming up with you guys?
Work and school are the primary candidates for distractions.
Life is a huge distraction.
Almost makes you wish you were writing nonfiction.
That's all I have to say to that.
Yeah. I, similarly to CJ, have work and work. Those are my general distractions. His combined hours of work and school probably equal or perhaps exceed the hours of my work, but it's probably very close.
Well, if it's just the day job and school, that averages about 55 to 60 hours a week. If you add in FC Writers or Terror 2015 stuff, I haven't bothered to calculate that because that is scary.
Yes, Terror 2015. There will be plenty more information on that coming up in the next few months. We've got some exciting things coming up in store for the podcast, full coverage writers, the whole thing. Lots of things going on in the background. We don't have anything to share with you right now specifically, unless in the last couple podcasts I was not on. CJ already shared those things.
Oh yeah, we told them everything, especially everything that you need to do within like the next month or so.
Yes, I do have a lot of things I have to do in the next month or so. Speaking of the next month or so, and or so being several months from now, I wanted to kick off a little bit talking about NaNoWriMo in November.
Oh, good
and even the brave cameras.
Evil word right now.
Was anyone planning on doing July camp?
There's one in July?
Wait, isn't there? There's two in the summer, right?
I thought there was 2 or 3.
Maybe the other one's August. I don't remember. Crap.
I barely have a plan set up for November.
Now, is anyone pantsing or is anyone planning?
If I were to participate, it would be complete pantsing because my entire brain is focused on, oh dear lord, Kineticon is in a couple of weeks, and then, oh yeah, that other convention in August. We should probably panic about that too.
And the one in October.
What's in October?
Rhode Island.
No, that's like the first week of November, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it start the 31st of October?
If you want to get specific, don't do that.
October / November.
Okay.
So, Will, you said that you had a somewhat of a plan arising, at least, for Nano November?
I've had an idea that I want to write that I think would be good for a Nano because it's a smaller project. But unfortunately, it would take place after Roommate, chronologically speaking. So I kind of was hoping to finish Roommate first to avoid spoilers.
And to avoid the need of retconning.
Yeah, that too. But,
oh crap, that's not how I wanted the story to go at all.
Yeah. I mean, last year, all the way up to like October, I was like, I have no ideas for Nano. I'm not going to do Nano. And then like halfway through October, I was like, ooh, an idea. And then I did Nano. So who knows? Maybe I'll come up with something in October.
Don't worry, November 1st is on a Saturday this year. So I'm going to try to do 50,000 words in 24 hours.
Ooh, novel in a day. You're gonna pull a sushi.
Yep.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. I won't be attempting that.
I think that automatically nominates you to be running the Nano events that weekend while the rest of us go to Rhode Island Comic Con.
Now, yeah, I guess that would make sense since I have to do it all in a day. That would be difficult if I was also doing a convention at the same time. Also, if I'm going to be running things, that's going to be even more difficult because I need to travel to a location in theory, and that's
Yeah.
going to take an hour out of writing.
And you're also going to have to keep track of all the nanowars that come in or go and make sure they understand what's going on and basically play the ML.
Oh God, I don't think I can do both. That may be difficult. I'll have to think about this. Maybe I'll do novel in a day on like the 3rd of November.
There you go. It doesn't have to be the first. It just has to be all in one day.
I think for the street cred, it has to be on the 1st.
If you're going to pull a sushi, it has to be on the 1st.
Right. Now, CJ, for the listeners not as aware, who is this Sushi?
Sushi is the nanowar Sushi Must Write. She is an ML for, I think she's based in Atlanta. Or at least I've seen her in Atlanta. She does exist. She is not just some robotic writer, because she tends to write 50,000 words on day one and anywhere between 150 to 300,000 in November.
Wow.
I
She
think
writes-
300,000 was her peak.
Does she have a day job?
Yes, but I forget what it is.
Maybe she takes a month off. Maybe I'll take a couple days off in November.
Yeah, that's usually when I burn up some of my leftover discretionary days.
I could double cheat and do it. No, because that's a Friday. Why does everything have to happen that first day?
Because that's the way things work.
Well, if I start at midnight...
You are allowed to outline and prepare beforehand.
Yeah, but even complete pantsing and doing word wars, my writing speed is just about going to be what I need to consistently keep up for the 24 hours. And I'm probably going to end up more or less fasting or drinking through a straw. Probably make one of my delicious green smoothies.
Yeah, you're on your own with those.
The green smoothies are writing everything at midnight. Oh. So there's something else that I wanted to talk about that I've been having trouble with personally in my writing world. So I'm doing a lot of nonfiction writing, working on a blog as frequent listeners to the podcast know. It's at facingmyreality.com, and there's no actual content up quite yet. It's all on a big pile that needs to get edited and reviewed, and then it will go up. But I've been having trouble deciding what kind of voice I want for the nonfiction. I've been debating on going super serious, serious with a tinge of humor. I've also experimented briefly with something very fantastic, but I don't know if people are going to take my productivity blog seriously if I go too fantastic. I wanted to entertain you all and read a sample of something that I was experimenting with. It's extremely rough draft, but if you guys don't mind, I would like to read it on the air.
Well, you're the boss man. You can do whatever you want.
That's true. I am running the podcast, so yes. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read the part where things start going into Fantasyland. So basically, this podcast is talking about appreciating flexibility and dealing with all your to-do lists and tasks. And throughout the first half of the blog post, I've been talking about the hourglass being a metaphor of all the tasks being, grains of sand that have to go through the hourglass. And you only have a certain width that you can have throughput of all your to-do lists and whatnot. So the hourglass is a very apt analogy. And while I was writing this, sleep-deprived on a train, I started slipping into the actual metaphor and talking about a literal hourglass. So I'm going to read 2 paragraphs where I've literally slipped into the hourglass metaphor. and have you guys tell me what you think. Let's see, just pulling it up. All right. So now I have rocks, sand, and dust all trying to cram through the hourglass bottleneck. This creates quite a mess, and many times when the hourglass is jammed up. These jams are caused by multitasking. It seemed to me that about 10 years ago until now, multitasking was the thing to do. Every blog and every seminar touted time management and multitasking. The paradigm shift from multitasking to focusing went largely unnoticed by me, as I struggled to keep my calendar in check. Important tasks were getting tossed to the side, left and right, as I had to sub in some important meeting or some home emergency. This left my calendar a war-torn flag. Eventually I gave up, slumped in my chair, and threw my hands up in the air. Rhyme not intended. I had finally lost control. Through the darkness I peered at the mess that lay before me. I sat in the rubble and picked up a single task. Do the dishes, it read. Then it dawned on me that I was treating everything in my calendar as a loose assembly of tasks and to-dos, and was not giving credence to the individual tasks. The darkness faded and opened up to a cloudless sky. I could see all the tasks before me. I can assemble these, I said to myself. I hearkened back to my days of playing Tetris and packing luggage, and went to work, stacking and assembling the tasks. I went to the larger boulders and smaller rocks. These rocks were largely unmovable. They were specific tasks, with specific timelines involved, which left me with just the sand and the dust. I was about to pile all the sand and dust in between all the rocks, staring at the growing hourglass, when I stopped and looked at all the sand. Why am I even using an hourglass? And that's what I've written so far. The rest of the blog post is going to be talking about why the hourglass metaphor is, while very apt, if you stick yourself in that hourglass metaphor, you're going to run into problems. And I'm sort of taking the idea of throwing away the hourglass entirely. And I haven't really fleshed out that part of the blog post yet. But I wanted to know what you guys thought of having a nonfiction blog kind of slip into fantastical fiction.
I think that is one way to create your own unique voice in all the nonfiction blogs and stuff out there. That way you can be a little more identifiable and unique. And it does make for a little more interesting reading than just flat-out nonfiction stuff. I'm a little concerned as to why you are trying to overthrow the full coverage writer's hourglass motif. Are you going to try and take us down from the inside?
That's the goal.
Are you
Grain of
Hydra?
sand at a time.
You must be part of Hydra. Damn it, who let Hydra in?
Though I think doing it that way is a good way to really get to the roots of a metaphor. If you're going to use a metaphor, really get into it. Really explain the depths of what that metaphor means to you. Because metaphors can be vague, and sometimes it could be left up to the reader. And if you're trying to do something specific with the metaphor and the reader interprets it in a different way, then your message may get lost. If you go a little fantastical in order to get to the depths of your real meaning behind the metaphor, that might help keep things clear. Like the glass of an hourglass.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about having, am I going to lose a certain amount of respect by not writing seriously enough?
Depends on how fantastical or silly you would go, probably.
And
I
maybe
think
how
it's-
often? Because I wasn't thinking of doing this for every blog post, but I wasn't sure about that even yet.
I think so long as you take your work seriously and the writing that you put together seriously, that's the most important thing. If you're just making stuff up for the sake of trying to be entertaining, that's where things can fall apart.
As long as you have respect in your own writing, it should show through.
Oh, no. Now, do you think that if I don't do this often enough, it's going to throw people when they finally get to a passage that falls deep into the metaphor?
That's a little harder to predict. I mean, if you do it once every couple months, that might be a little jarring, but if it's like once every 5 or 6 posts, or even every 10, I don't know. I don't know what the ideal frequency for that would be.
You also don't want to force it just because you feel like you haven't done it in a while.
Right. I went back to some of the older blog posts, and I was thinking about, uh, incorporating fantastic elements into those posts, but it didn't feel natural to me.
Yeah.
I was talking about a metaphor that wasn't. It was about my metaphor was taking stock of a store, and that would be a very boring, fantastical passage. Oh, as I stand around writing on this steno pad. So I decided not to do it there. And I think that's probably fine.
Yeah, that's one lesson that full coverage writers continuously needs to learn. Whenever we come up with a good idea or a good concept or something to play around with, it does not necessarily mean we have to apply it to everything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to force word ninjas or hourglasses or instigators of creative insanity upon everything.
That's why we have a little bit everywhere.
Yes. And that's why we have Reality Man take over every once in a while.
Yep.
To balance things out.
Mix it up a bit.
That way, all of the chaos that ensues is not entirely from me.
Speaking of chaos ensuing, oh, look at another great transition. So this would be typically the part of the show where we run out of things to talk about on the talkie points, and we go to the highlights reel. But I also wanted to sort of mix this up a little bit and kind of discuss with you guys about what other things we can include in the highlights reel. Instead of having the same 3 things over and over again, we can probably mix things up as appropriate. Sort of like, I wrote down here, news posts in the literary world, upcoming books or trending authors. And then if we don't have a particular YouTube user that week, then we don't talk about a YouTube user that week. But we can fill the slot with other things, and I wanted to know what you guys thought of that.
Well, we've already fallen off the wagon with doing one of each every single episode, because we don't have one of each for every single episode. It's usually been 1, maybe 2 of all of those things any given episode. Although we have not incorporated other aspects like news or trending authors or anything like that.
I'm with it, though. I like the idea. Because that way we can, whatever we have, we can put in, and then we don't have to go, yeah, well, you don't have a YouTube user this week. We'll just ignore it and be like, hey, look, upcoming books, news, websites.
Right, and I feel like I'd like this to be a repository for information for people that are listening to the podcast. For me especially, I don't really have a finger on the pulse of the literary world. I'm sort of like a really new freelancer, newcomer writer that only really, I put writing aside for many years and only just recently got back into it, and only recently got back into reading even. So I'm not keeping track of publishers or books that are coming out or authors. And I think a lot of people are probably in my shoes that are listening to this and wouldn't mind hearing about trending authors and books that are coming out.
Well, I have a stack of about 3 inches worth of upcoming book pamphlets or booklets or whatever they are from Book Expo from all the publishers, saying what's coming out when and from whom and all that.
So then we'd have to
usually
figure
enough
out
from that.
we'd have to figure out how to parse that and figure out what we want to promote, and that will probably be a challenge in and of itself.
I nominate Reality Man.
No, I'm busy. So I'm willing to hear other ideas for things that we can include in this highlights reel section.
Although not too often, it would be interesting for us to be able to talk about books that have been transferred into movies or other forms of media.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like how The Fault in Our Stars just recently came out, although I have not read it or seen it, so I
Yeah,
can't really
same here.
speak to it.
I've heard it came out as a movie, and I heard it was a book.
Yeah, it was a book first.
As a lot of them are. And this is the part where we have somebody edit out the awkward silence on the podcast that we put in.
And I can't do anything about the video version, but the audio version, we clean it up.
So there was a website that I wanted to kind of explore briefly. Something that I think we brought up in the past on an episode where I wasn't here. And so there was some poking at it perhaps, but not really anyone in depth or knowledgeable of the website itself. Now, since this is the first time me running the podcast, we'll get a little bit more behind the scenes as CJ shows me how to screen share.
Well, you go to the menu and you click the screen share option.
So there's a menu. Yeah.
It's the
Is
second
it
one
the
from
capture button? No.
It's a green square with an arrow pointing towards the video screen.
Ah, yes. Screen share. Let me make
That
sure I
should
have
give you a couple of
no
options.
tabs of egregious pornography open. Nope, everything's pretty innocuous. Oh, I can show just a single tab
Yep.
screen. That's neat. I will try that.
And then just make sure that your screen is highlighted so it stays on that. Oh my.
It's probably stretching this out, right?
It's shrinking it for me.
Hold on. I'm going to grow it and see what that does. One moment, please. How's that look?
Much better.
Okay. So this is a little website that I found a couple years ago, I think. It's called the SCP Foundation, and what it is it's a Wikipedia-style fiction repository of fake monsters and ghouls and other paranormal things going on. It's broken down into a main couple of series. These are series that have been around for a while. So if we were to go to the database and go to, let's say, I'm just going to click Series 1. I think most of this stuff is safe for work. Some of the pictures might not be, so it's probably better off that you don't look at this site at work, although most of it is text. And then you see here a big list, SCP-001. These are all, the SCP is sort of like a fake database that's run by a fake group of people, so this is all very meta. So these are the entries in the logs of these specific creatures. So if we were to click on a random one, let's look at one and see one that doesn't look like it could be not safe for work. Skeleton key. I'm going to click on this random one here. Great, it's a picture of a key. I'm glad that that was the case. So the way these are broken up is it gives the item number, which is number 5, which is what we clicked on. And then it gives a bunch of random descriptions of the item. And some of these things are just like Wikipedia-style entries. Some of them contain fake logs that were written by the users of the website. And there's a lot of like fake redaction going on, especially with personal information of not real people that are in here. But this is a very fun website to go through. Also, much like Wikipedia, you can see top-rated pages, which is where I usually go first. Recent changes, and then there's some guides, and there's a forum where you can, learn more about how the site actually functions. Let's go to top-rated pages. Okay, so here it just gives numbers. It doesn't actually say what the objects are. But basically, what most of these are is there's some sort of like weird creature or phenomenon that's basically well documented. It's like, oh, here's a monster that's in this cage, and this is how you can approach it. It's in like level 3 security. And the reason why I like this site is because it's extremely detailed, and the people who work on this take it very seriously. And while it is all fictional, the website is built so that it looks like it could be real, which I really appreciate, and I really fall into it. I'm going to carefully click another one. Like I said, I'm pretty sure all the pictures are safe for work. This is our pictures of tomatoes, so that was beneficial. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so for example, in this one, they're talking about a tomato, and this tomato has some supernatural element to it. And then these are some logs of tests that were done with the tomato. So, for example, somebody here is speaking to it, and then something happens to the tomato, supposedly. It looks, based on just skimming this, that the tomato changes speed depending on what you say to it. Or maybe it is speaking itself. I'm not sure. I'd have to go through these. Let's see. Considering somebody played a Dane Cook comedy CD to it, I'm assuming that these are played for the tomato, and then the tomato launches at a certain speed. And as you can see, there's a lot of really detailed information here. Now I'm going to attempt to unscreen share. Let's see. You should see me again. Did that work?
Yep.
I see we are joined by Calvin.
Hi.
Hi, I don't know if you noticed I took over the podcast today.
Yeah, I saw the title and I was like, cool.
Did you look at the show notes?
I did. I looked at them last night and there was really nothing there.
Oh, well, if you look at it today, you'll see I changed it a lot. I even changed the color of the text to purple.
All right, let's see exactly what you did here.
While Calvin looks at that and has his own chuckle. Oh, I need to take it off that. So yeah, the site is really cool for generating ideas, and there's so many random things on the site that your creativity can really start opening up when you start thinking about the most ridiculous thing possible. While you may not write about the specific thing that you see, it kind of allows your brain to open up and think of wild ideas, which I really like. So actually, let me give the URL while I'm thinking about it. It's scp.wiki.net, and that's the website that I recommend all of you check out, especially horror and fantasy writers, because there's a lot of weird creatures and things on that site.
Query. Is it scp.wiki or scp-wiki? Because on my URL it says hyphen.
Yes, it is hyphen. I believe I said dash. Did I say dot?
You said dot.
Oh, I apologize.
Or I heard dot. So
it is scp-wiki.net. Thank you. Okay, back to the regular show notes for me. And let's see, now is the time where we talk about Muse Food. CJ, would you like to head the Muse Food section?
is that an order?
CJ, head the Muse Food section.
Nuts. Alright, it's time for writing prompts then. As always, every week we provide multiple styles of writing prompts to get your muses kick-started. We provide them in multiple styles because every writer is different. We do 10 one-liners, 10 one-worders, and a combination of Rory's story cubes. And I'm going to hand it back to Justin so he can choose who does which segment.
What? Well, I will do the one-liners since I already read them earlier. Calvin, since you were late, I'll have Will choose which one he wants to do between the cubes and the one-worders, and then force Calvin to do the other one.
I'll do the one-worders.
All right. Calvin, you're stuck with the cubes.
Okay.
All right, so the one-liners for today and this week are: your shadow ran off again. Now is not the time for flamethrowers. Triangles will never look the same again. I bet you can't make that jump. I hear noise coming out of your mouth, but all I hear is blah 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 owls blah blah. Stop eating the heirlooms. Zombies need health insurance? Space koalas again. Must be a Thursday. Stop making me eat when it's not food time. I got stuck with it yesterday. It's your turn today.
Hey, Justin.
Yep.
Should someone share or screen share the writing prompts for our video stream?
Probably. That seems like a thing that we could do. Now, is there a link to the... Yes, there is, right here. Now, let's see if Google Hangouts behaves and allows screen sharing twice.
I got it.
Yay, we both have it.
Me, Calvin. I have it up already.
All right. I also had it up, but you were first, so I'm going to keep it on you. So those were the one-liners, and Will provide the one-worders.
All right. So the one-word writing prompts for this week are...
Well, before you continue, Justin, click on my window so everybody else can see the screen.
I have done just that, but thank you for reminding me. Unless it's not working, and then let me know.
That
We won't notice.
Okay, I do have your name highlighted,
okay, cool.
but thanks for reminding.
No problem. Well, carry on.
All right, so the one-word writing prompts for this week are hope, endeavor, singing, droll, morning, gas, shard, agreement, tree, and overkill.
Me taking over this podcast was probably overkill. Calvin, would you like to do the cubes?
All right, let's see what we got here. We have a clock pointing to 4 o'clock. We have a ladder. We have a Ninja Turtle running away with a box full of stuff. We have a pill or a capsule of some sort. We have somebody who looks like they're about to catch a ball. We've got an antiquated cell phone. We have a bowl of something piping hot of questionable texture. We have a person peering through a door looking very disturbed. And finally, we have a teepee. I think that about covers it.
All right.
How's that sound?
Excellent. So, As always, it's not necessary to use all of the prompts at once, or even any of them. They're just meant as an extra resource for you for when your muse is tired and cranky and there are deadlines to be made. And if you write a flash fiction or short story utilizing these prompts, we'd love to read it. You can email us a copy of your short piece or by URL where we can read it. Send us a message over at wordninja@fcwriters.com.
Hey, Justin.
Yes,
I think you're still on screen share.
Yeah, you are.
I am.
Yes.
Well,
There
I
you go.
was attached to Calvin that whole time anyway, so now we're good.
Okay, cool.
And now it's everyone's favorite part of the show. At least the favorite part of all the people who are doing the podcast. How did last week's goals go?
I don't know if this is a technical difficulty or thing, but I still see screen sharing from Calvin.
I do as well.
Yeah, just closing
Is
out a
it off?
tab does not stop the screen share.
There we go.
There we go.
If you close an entire window, it does. Otherwise, you have to actually go back to the Hangout, click the screen share button, and then it disappears.
Right.
More behind the scenes fun.
Like in front of the
So, because I'm lazy and I can do whatever I want because I took over the podcast, I'm just going to go in order of which they are written. So, how did last week's goal go, CJ?
Secret meetings stuff did not happen at all. That's all I'm going to say on those because we are being recorded. For interviews, we've got Michael Kepps sorted. We have one working, we're kind of pinning down for July, and another one in the works. I'm still waiting to hear back for some confirmations for Kineticon inventory. I didn't get as much done as I would like, not even nearly enough. I'm really hoping to get done with work and school stuff early this weekend so that I have my evenings this week to catch up. But as for last week, it was pretty much a wash.
All right. Sounds like you had a very eventful week.
Yeah, let's go with that.
And you'll be copying and pasting many of these items to your to-do next week lists.
Already did.
All right, next on the list is Calvin.
All right, so my goals for last week were to continue playing catch up from the month of Suck, and I've got a pretty good handle on everything. I'm still catching up. Let's see, I got finish reading the 2 main books on my reading list. I got 1 down, I got 1 more to go, and apparently I got 2 weeks to work on that. Let's see. Update the book review graphic. I got distracted by another graphic that I ended up working on. And CJ can attest to that one. I've got prep equipment for Kineticon, and I have the following. Work on the banner. Haven't got the banner printed out yet. Working on that. Buy some mic flags. Got those. Buy some new tripods. Still trying to figure out which tripods I want to actually get, or if I'm even gonna get the large one. Definitely need the small one though.
I do have a large tripod that we can probably retrofit.
Okay. It's I'm gonna be using it on my DSLR, so it should be able to handle the weight of that.
Okay. I use mine for the same, so.
I also have a tripod and unipod that I'll be bringing as backups.
All right, fantastic. So I can get rid of looking for the large tripod, though I honestly do need one. I'll get that later down the line. But the small tripod, I'll get that this week.
I have a tiny 6-inch tripod. Does that count? And I mean literally, not as an innuendo.
that could work too. I actually did have one, but it crapped out on me after 2 weeks. So that was great. Oh yeah, and I put
And
an
I'm just sitting here without any tripods.
no tripods for you, sir.
Oh.
And so I put in an asterisk under my Kineticon prep list. It says new mics. So I went to buy the mic flags at B&H in on 34th Street, Manhattan, and I ended up buying 2 new microphones. But to be fair, they are interview mics, and I can show you one of them right now. Actually, I'll just.
Can people see Calvin's video? There we go.
Actually, I'll list off my last to-do from last week, and then I'll go grab it. My last was to buy the rest of my Western Steampunk outfit. I'm still working on that. I got distracted by new microphones.
Understandable.
So yeah, those were my goals for last week. So it was hit or miss. But I got the catch up almost caught up, which is the big thing for me, and the equipment prep. So I'm happy about that.
Great. Looks like you got a lot done last week.
Yeah, I did. I'm proud of myself.
Especially considering your month of absence from the getting up and doing things world for various reasons.
Yeah.
Looks like you're back on the horse again. Good to see you.
I appreciate it. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to go grab the mic or mics, and I'll be right back.
Calvin does that. Will, you have a shorter list, so why don't you go over that?
All right, so my list. Yeah, I wanted to get Chapter 25 of Roommate done and out by today, and that's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. I have way too much still left to write. Excuse me, not even in counting editing, but hopefully I'll get it done soon. Edit the next episode of Not Suitable for Word Ninjas. That is done and up and listenable. Listenable? Listenable. It's a word now.
Yes.
Work on Clash of the Storms. Did not do that. Did not write something for myself either. I did do some more Kineticon panel prep. Going to be doing a lot of that.
Yes, we have much to discuss.
Yes, there is much to do. And it's not really on the list, but I must say that we did get a lot done with the Minecraft server, improving it, finding textures, building things so that we can create content in the future. Fun stuff like that.
Yeah, we got a good dent in that.
We
So
even
that's a good
recorded
note.
content.
Yes. And one of us was actually able to record the audio for it too.
Yes, one of us. Well, you know, obviously Camtasia's first choice is going to be record from the CD drive.
You
Duh.
know.
Obviously, yeah, there's a microphone plugged in, but you don't want to record that audio.
Who would do that?
So, but yeah, no, we're getting content creation down, which is good. And everything looks so deliciously steampunk.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Do you have a forced texture pack?
No, because the texture pack we're using is high definition, and Minecraft isn't so server-side compatible with forcing those. We
Yes.
tried to set it up, and it just was like, no. So
All right, fair enough.
maybe in 1.8.
Fingers crossed. I'm looking very much forward to 1.8
Fill command.
fill command.
Fill Will's house with lava blocks.
I was thinking more like TNT.
I like TNT.
We know.
The thing is, if you used a fill command to fill my house with TNT, I would be the one to set the TNT off and just watch. And be like, yeah, that's cool.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Or explode.
So basically, give Darkholme 6446.
So, Calvin, you had those mics?
So here's
Ooh.
the mic here. It's
Oh, they're handoff interview mics.
yes. And I
Are
got
they
two-
wired or wireless?
These are wired. I can't afford two wireless setup right now, so we're just gonna have to deal with wires for right now until I can cough up $1,600.
Oof.
We'll have to wait for that. I do like high fidelity of having the actual cable transfer the audio. I don't like anything being wireless in my house. I have an Ethernet cable literally running the entire circumference of my house.
I actually feel the same way. Like, I have my Xbox in the living room, and I have an Ethernet cable running from my bedroom into the living room, just to make sure that there's enough bandwidth so that there's no interruptions or lag or anything like that.
It also doesn't help that the optional Xbox wireless thing was, at least, I don't know if anymore, but at the time it was expensive. Because when we got our Xbox 360, we saw how much the additional wireless thing for it was, and we were like, yeah, we'll just plug in an Ethernet cable.
Yeah, that's understandable. Okay, so before the month is out, I say I've got the mic flags with it. I also bought some sticker paper and some contact paper, so I'll make sure that both mic flags have the Full Coverage Writers logo on it.
Excellent. Will, does Ed want to talk about last week, or is this a progression of weeks before?
Much been a progression of weeks before. Do you want to talk about? He's not even listening. He's got his headphones on. He's over there selling Ninja Cubes right now.
Ah,
Nice.
So we got some completed ones here. Progress is being made.
great.
Not bad
But-
at all.
He's doing the last difficult part where he's stuffed them and is now hand sewing the last bit up. So it requires precise concentration considering the canvas fabric is rather thick and needles are sharp and pointy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I've sent a few of those through my hands.
As have I.
So, what is everyone's creative goals for next week, or this coming week? Again, I will go in order because I like order. Reality Man enjoys order. CJ.
And nuts to order. Basically, it was kind of rinse and repeat for the goals. A couple updates of actually identify all of the secret project stuff so that I can keep better track of actual progress of them. For the interviews, make sure that everything is prepped and good to go for the ones that we've confirmed, and continue the ongoing battle of pinning down and confirming others. I've added more names to that ever-growing list, so look forward to all sorts of interesting and entertaining people on the show in the future. And then I'm going to keep on adding more and more exclamation points to Kineticon inventory until it actually happens. So that's basically the rest of the month for my creative goals.
You're going to need a whole nother line if you want to add any more exclamation points than what you already have.
That'll be next week.
You should probably replace the first dozen or so with interrobangs.
That'll be the week after.
Since Calvin is frantically typing in his goals for next week,
Oh, it's actually done.
Oh, perfect.
So Just like CJ is going to be kind of a rinse and repeat, I'm going to try to finish up all the projects that I've been working on. Well, at least the projects I've been trying to catch up on, which is almost done, thankfully. Um, I'm going to try to finish the last main book on my reading list before the 29th. Fingers crossed. Actually get to updating the book review graphic. Actually, let's get rid of mic flag there. Let me update that. And under Kineticon equipment prep, I gotta get the banner to the printer. I gotta find myself a small tripod that can handle my DSLR camera, and update the mic flags with graphics. And finally, buy the rest of my Western steampunk outfit. I've got the pants, the shirt, and the vest to go. Oh yeah, and a tie. I gotta figure out what tie I'm gonna wear with that. I still got time for that. Yeah, that's it.
I'll be looking forward to seeing the completed outfit.
As am I. I'm pretty excited about it.
I have to figure out what I'm going to do for my mustache. Probably get a fake mustache, since mine doesn't grow in full enough for what I'm trying to pull off. But I have the rest of my costume, so that's exciting.
You're not trying to go for the French tickler mustache, are you?
No. Broom. Full broom mustache. Push broom.
Nice.
And I can't quite pull it off naturally. I tried last Halloween, but it didn't work out.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you put together there.
Soon enough.
Like my mustache grows long, but not particularly bushy.
At least yours connects to your beard somehow. Mine does not.
Yeah. It's still a little patch here, but eventually maybe.
So, Will, you have some things you would like to do this week as well?
I have many things I'd like to do this week, but the things I'm going to mention are to finish Chapter 25 of My Roommate's a Stripper. I'd really like to get that done. Really, really badly. I'm probably going to be working on that tonight and tomorrow, and yeah. Connecticut Convention, Kineticon, panel prep. Got to do some outlining for that. More not suitable for Word Ninja, not suitable... That should be NSFW, not NS. Not suitable word for ninja. There we go. Audio editing. Always get started on the next one. And experiment with more audio and video recording. Because we still have some slight technical hiccups here and there, but I feel eventually, if we keep at it, we'll get it right.
Yeah, with plenty of practice, we'll figure out a checklist to do before we hit the record button.
Things like make sure the microphone's plugged into port 1.
Yes.
And make sure our software is recording from our microphones and not from weird things like our CD players.
I'm still really upset about that.
I still can't believe that's an option, let alone the default option. Like I would figure, like maybe it's in there, but that's not what it's supposed to be preset to. Like it should, by default, start out microphone, and then maybe down in the pull down somewhere it says CD drive. But to be default set to the CD drive just boggles my mind.
Yeah, that was. I can't even comment on that.
You've tried several times now, and you've failed every time.
Yes. It is very difficult for me to put into words how I felt when I realized I just recorded 3
3
hours,
hours?
5 minutes, and 8 seconds of silence.
And now you know my pain.
I still love that one time we did that other recording, and I tried to record my in-game audio and my microphone, and it didn't record my microphone. So I have you, but I don't have me.
Or when
Now,
we
some-
did the D&D campaign at your house the other day, and we were recording with my camcorder, but I didn't plug the camcorder in, and apparently the battery life on the thing is pure garbage, because before we got too far in, the battery had died, and we recorded almost nothing.
Oh,
You know what the kicker to that is?
Uh-oh.
That entire campaign is now non-canon because the audio recording did not save.
Oh no!
It was so long, it tried to save, it crashed, corrupted itself, and just cried and ran away.
So, but that means, you know what that means, CJ? You never died.
That's true.
Oh man.
It never happened. It wasn't recorded. It never happened.
So yeah, for future reference, if we ever do long-term recordings, we need to keep track of how long we've been going and do a pause every once in a while.
We're gonna take a break for about 5 minutes, and we'll
Yeah.
be back, and then have some buffer music or something.
So you know how all of those professional recordings of people doing shows and stuff, they usually have a break after an hour or an hour and a half? We should actually do that. Like actual real, like really do that, not just fake do that and then keep rolling,
Right.
because this is ridiculous.
Indeed. We're learning. It's a learning curve.
And just as redundancy, we should, all of us who have field recorders should take advantage of them for audio recordings.
Yes.
Yes.
CJ and I recorded something on the way home from the diner, and it turned out that my microphone was on, but not actually recording. So our plan was to test the audio quality of our two different mics to see which one was better in the car, and we have no evidence of which one was better because mine wasn't recording at all.
To be fair, I think yours was still better because if you have a window down or the sunroof open, a majority of the noise is just wind,
Yeah, that's fun to edit out.
I'm sure.
I do have a windscreen. We could probably use that.
And as Calvin reminded me, I need to work on my cosplay outfits for Kineticon as well.
Yeah, I just double checked to see if my cosplay is going to even happen this time round. Hopefully it will.
If not, you can always go for the kilt.
Yeah. Well, backup plan is just Fancy Pants Wolf, but I have an actual cosplay for once in the works.
We have one in the works that we're planning out for one day, but I'd like to get the kind of the steampunk box going. I need to find good goggles and stuff.
Correction, I have 2 cosplays in the works. I forgot about that one.
That'd be
So-
cool for. Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it would be really cool if we could get the 3 of us to in sync with a steampunk motif for one day.
One day.
Someday.
I have a steampunk gun, that's about it.
We're getting there. It's a process.
Oh yeah.
I still need the ears and a couple other accoutrements, but I'm getting there.
I didn't know there were steampunk ears.
Just ears in general. I have the tail, finally.
Well, before we get into that, my goals for next week. One of them I happen to have done probably already. Decide the Facing My Reality voice, which we discussed earlier in the podcast. Calvin, I suggest listening to the first part of the podcast and give me your insight. I did a live read and
Okay.
want to hear your thoughts.
Cool.
You can do that anytime. finalize the website and logo design for FacingMyReality.com. I have to go poke the designer for that because I haven't heard from her in over a month. So I should poke that person. Speaking of people to poke, I need to send Kit an updated package of the posts to review since I've been pretty much radio silence for the editor. And then I have to continue reading my current book list. Not reading the list itself, but reading the books on the list. I also want to test out the NVIDIA Shadowplay on my computer. Since I have 2 GPUs, I think I can probably pull that off with pretty much no hassle. But that's probably what all of you guys said when you were trying to record things with Camtasia, so who knows. And then I need to talk to Will about the Not Safe for Work panel at Kineticon, which we will talk about later this week. So, all in all, I've got plenty to do, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not even on that list that I want to do. But I'm not committing to them. So, in the interest of time and the fact that CJ has a lot of muscle memory on this portion, I'm going to turn the reins back over to him, where he will be talking about events and sponsors and updates and whatnot. He would be better at that since I have not practiced any of this. Sorry, CJ.
Lazy, lazy, lazy.
Says the person who didn't host.
I'm allowed to be a hypocrite if I want.
That's a good point.
All right, events. The next one up, as you've heard on various episodes, is Kineticon, July 10th to the 13th at the Hartford Convention Center. Whoop, whoop. We will be in the Artists Colony, table AC32. Our affiliate, Itty Bitty Sheep, will be right next door at AC31. We have links in the show notes to all of the special guests that are attending, and they keep coming up with more. Every week they're posting 1 or 2 more special guests that are attending, so check back frequently to see just who's going to be there. And if you can make it, definitely stop by because along with our booth, we're going to be doing 2 panels, which is going to be fun and terrifying at the same time. Let's see, that Friday we have Writing Communities, Why Writing Alone in a Group is for You. I'll be running that one in the afternoon, and Saturday night, Will is going to be covering Literotica, 6 Do's and Don'ts in Adult Romance Writing. That one is 18 plus, so bring your ID.
6 Do's and 9 Don'ts.
Yeah, well, same thing.
Get it? I'm sure that was by design.
Yeah, let's go with that. And in August, we have Inconceivable in Northampton, Massachusetts, the weekend of August 15th to 17th, where at the moment, myself, Will, and Ed will be attending as vendors. And at this point, I'm kind of...
And possibly me.
And possibly the Calvin. We're still waiting to hear back if panels are actually happening or not. It's getting a little disconcerting that there's still radio silence on that, but once we get anything confirmed, we will let you know and flail around in circles accordingly. And that same weekend, if you can't make it up to Massachusetts, our affiliate, Itty Bitty Sheep, is being an artist vendor at Connecticut Comic Con. And I would have to double check the link to figure out just where that is in Connecticut, because there's a lot of conventions in Connecticut. That one's in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the same weekend. So if you're a little farther south from Northampton, go check that one out. Or go to both if you really want. I mean, go to one day, go to the other day, say hello to all of us. You know you want to. And it is now theoretically official that Calvin is attending New York Comic Con because he has to.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I have to.
Now, because we were so late to the game, we do not have a table. We are not running panels. He's just attending. But if you happen to spot him, go say hello. Preferably in a non-creepy manner, if you can manage that.
Or creepy. I'm good with either or. Just say hello.
Just not murdery.
Yes.
Yeah, please don't murder my crew.
I like being alive.
Hooray!
Although for the last couple of months, it didn't really seem like it.
And theoretically, we are attending Rhode Island Comic-Con as vendors. I'm still waiting on confirmation as to just what that is going to entail and what we need to do to prep for that accordingly. As always, once we hear new stuff, we'll post it accordingly and let you all know. I am not talking about 2015 stuff because that just keeps on growing and is ridiculous. Yeah, we're not addressing that. That doesn't exist yet. So no.
No, it's not even summer yet, according to you guys.
It's not.
It's not.
Would you like me to roll into the brought to you by section, or do you want to
Yes. The first part of the question.
want to take over?
No. False.
All right. I presume Will is already prepped with a D6 to roll for me.
You got it right here.
Roll that
yeah, I
D6.
forgot we were doing this. I've only been to one podcast where we did this.
I'm surprised you don't have commentary on it yet.
I rolled a 2.
Then that means it's brought to you by the Fairy Tale Podcast for this episode. They are the weekly live stream that's hosted on Monday nights around 10 p.m. Eastern Time. They talk about anything and everything fairy tale, manga, and anime related. And they also do the manga and anime dubs. They do cosplay reviews. They actually get a lot of interviews with people in the trade when they can, so it's definitely a channel worth checking out. And you can find me on there as Makarov most nights when I can make it. So, yeah, episode 46, brought to you by Fairy Tale Podcast. And all other affiliates that we are affiliated with and like to acknowledge are also in the show notes. Shall I just keep rolling?
Yep.
Lazy, lazy, lazy. Alright. If we entertained you in any way, shape, or form, you can show your appreciation via various methods. The easiest one is subscribing to our YouTube channel, because that's where the live streams happen. That's where a lot of our video recordings are posted. All of the audio stuff is synchronized to our Libsyn account, which I hope is actually linked in the show notes. If not, I will do that in post. But if you want to show your appreciation, check out our various accounts. YouTube is, the short link is wnja.us/YouTube. If you're watching the live stream, hey, you've already found us. But if you're just listening, that's the short link. And we also have links to our Twitter account, our Tumblr, Facebook page, and our actual website, fcwriters.com, where everything is hosted. And if you go over there, you can check out all the various other stuff and shenanigans that we get up to. And of course, if you did enjoy anything we did, by all means, post a comment, hit us up via social media, start talking to us. We like to converse with our fans. And we'll even take constructive criticism.
Nope.
Not even a Rotten Tomato?
Nope. Not me. Not interested. Only positive. La 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 la. I did a great job on hosting this podcast. La 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 la.
So you can dish it, you just can't take it. Okay. Now I understand.
Yeah, I'm reality man, not self-reality man.
Fair enough. If you check out our live stream page, there's various ways of giving back to us or showing your appreciation, because this show is privately funded. The more funds we get, the more crazy endeavors we are able to accomplish. So if you want to help donate to our shenanigans, there are very easy ways via our fcwriters.com Word Ninjas Live page. Go check it out. There's various details on what we do to give back. And I'm going to give it back to Justin so that he can decide who goes first on attributions and all that stuff.
Attributions. who are we anyways? And if you've been following along closely to the podcast so far, you know that I'm going to go in order.
God damn it. Actually, I think I do that anyway.
Probably. So the first person is Will. Tell us about your social media space.
All right. Well, I will go in random order.
Damn you.
You can find my, let's say, Twitter, which I am pretty much never on, at Will Granville. I have a writing Tumblr and personal Tumblr pages. My personal Tumblr is darkhom.tumblr.com. It's DARKHOM. The writing Tumblr is where I post everything for My Roommate's a Stripper. It's myroommatesastripper.tumblr.com. Both are not safe for work. I have a Sofurry at darkhom.sofurry.com. And I think the only time anything posts to my Twitter is when I post something on Sofurry because they're linked. And I kind of still am doing commissions. You can find information on my personal Tumblr page.
Would you like to pimp Ed's stuff as well? Maybe one or two things?
If that is still applicable.
I don't know.
We can sort that out off air then.
Yeah, I'll work that out.
Fair enough. Calvin, you're next.
All right. There are many places that you can find me, and I'm not going to go in order at all. So there. You can find my portfolio of websites and various other endeavors at calvin.cwillia.ms. That's calvin.cwillia.ms. You can find me on Tumblr. My username is Instacal. You can also find me at the music website Riffraff. That's riffraff.net, riffraf.net. Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at ccwii, and on SoundCloud, my username is cdubny, so soundcloud.com/cdubny. And there you have it.
Great. I'm next, and we'll be pimping things in exact order. You can find my website that's frequently mentioned at facingmyreality.com. The email for that is also info@facingmyreality.com. And my Twitter, which I haven't updated in the last month due to various problems going on in life, but I'm back on the horse, so feel free to join me up at facingmyreality on Twitter. Nice and easy. And I believe CJ's next.
You can track me down via my zombified Twitter handle, silver_wolf85. I go through occasional bouts where I actually post stuff on there, but it is pretty random and few and far between. As I mentioned before, you can track me down as Makarov on the Fairy Tale Podcast, Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on their YouTube channel. My personal Tumblr, which is NSFW-ish, is fancypantswolf.tumblr.com. That's going to be the most lively place you'll find me via social media, anyway. And for anything and everything full coverage writers based, as we said before, our website is fcwriters.com. That's going to have your various podcasts, our author interviews, our events rundowns, all of our book hauls and stuff, future workbooks and worksheets, our store, which has our book, both print and digital version, if you want to check that out. Definitely worth a perusal. And we're hoping to update that a little more in the future, actually. We need to get on that. I need to get on that. For social media, as we said before, YouTube is wnja.us/YouTube. That's the easiest way for the short URL. Or, just go to YouTube, search for Word Ninjas Live or Full Coverage Writers. You'll find us. Our literary Twitter handle is @FCWordNinja. That is pretty steady with various links to interesting articles and what we happen to be reading at any given time, and some back and forth with various people in the trade. Literary Tumblr is fcwordninja.tumblr.com. That's just a random mishmash of literary stuff. Facebook is facebook.com/fullcoveragewriters. We also post the links to any live streams or other shenanigans that we're up to. And anything and everything else, just email us, wordninja@fcwriters.com, and we'll get back to you accordingly.
Great. So unless anyone else has any thing to note, I think we've reached the end of our podcast. It's been a whole hour and a half already.
Not bad.
Hooray!
And we barely derailed and flowed really nicely. There's only one bout of awkward silence that I remember. So I'd say I did a pretty good job. And I know you all agree. You don't have to say anything. Please don't.
Well, we can still derail and do awkward silence if you want.
No, I think we're good.
Aww.
I think this counts as a derailment. So,
Yes!
Mission accomplished.
tune in next week where I will not be taking over the podcast. Actually, that might not be true. We'll see. Anyways, come back next week at 3 p.m. and we'll see you then. Bye, everyone.
Adios.